What's going on, everybody? So it's been a little while since I've done a brewing video. I haven't actually brewed since like November, October last year. I mean, I did the cider around December, but that was like kind of a quick cider ferment, really. Not much of a brew to that, but I'm about to brew a beer I've never brewed before. It's a Kolsch. I've had Kolsch's before. They're definitely a different kind of beer, and I'm using Grainfather's new app. I'm using their newest version of their app, and I tell you what, it was a little fun navigating through this and figuring things out for a moment. I have imported my recipe. I've got 4.53 gallons of water, strike water, ready to go, already heated up, and we're using 10.75 pounds of US Pilsner, and caramel crystal 10, we're using 0.38 pounds of that. And we're going to go ahead and mash this at 152 degrees for 60 minutes, and then we'll do a mash out for 10 minutes at 167 degrees as typical in the step mash for the Grainfather. But man, it's just been a while, and so I'm learning the new app. I did run a dry spell of this about 2 weeks ago just to see how different the app was, and it was definitely not as straightforward as it used to be. You know how it is, anytime you learn something new, there's some hurdles involved, but I've already, as you've seen earlier, I've already crushed my grains. It's a real fine crush. Grainfather does really well with that. It's kind of interesting how fine the crush has to be. You don't want it too coarse, you don't want it too fine, but you got too much mud in there just from all the fine flour. But I've got it right about credit card thickness on that. And so let's rock and roll, man. Let's get this mash going and get this beer rocking and rolling, because this will be my first beer brew of 2019. I've gone over 6 months without brewing. With the home move and everything, barbecuing has just been a lot more available and easier access to do versus brewing a batch of beer and fermenting it. So anyways, let's get on it, shall we? So this is my first time brewing a Kolsch. So I'm gonna have a Kolsch with it. This is the 1980 Kolsch, and it's by No Label Brewing right here in Houston, Texas. Got my little muffin top glass because it's one of my favorite glasses now. And I am giving these away in a giveaway here soon, if I haven't already announced it. But Brewing America is sponsoring and giving away some muffin top glasses, a 4-pack of them. So if you're one of the lucky folks to grab a 4-pack of these, oh, that smells fantastic. Definitely a summer beer, guys. Cheers. Oh, goes down real smooth too. I hadn't really had a Kolsch until like earlier in the summer, so I'm very excited about making my own. And we're using this Y yeast pack here. It's a 2565 Kolsch. It's called a smack pack because what you do is you smack it, and what it is a nutrient package in there, or a little nutrient pouch in there that'll start feeding the yeast, and as the yeast warms up, it'll kind of eat on it. I usually don't smack these until I'm ready, you know, probably about 40 to 50 minutes before I'm ready to actually pitch it. And since my groundwater temperature is about 80 degrees right now, I'm going to pitch the yeast later. So I'm not going to pitch it right away. I'm going to just let the beer cool down with the Brew Jacket immersion chiller, and then I'll pitch this. But right now we've got about 56 minutes to go on the mash, and then a 10-minute mash out, and then we will go to boil. And let's talk about the hops we're going to use. All right, for 60 minutes of boil, we're going to use 2 ounces of Spaltz hops, and that's what these are. Those will go for 60 minutes, and then we're going to use some Hallertauer Mittelfrüh for the last 30 minutes of the boil. The Spaltz will give more of a bittering, mostly bittering, all bittering really, and then the Hallertauer will be kind of in that midpoint where it's doing a little bit of bittering and then doing the flavor and aroma at the same time. So it's going to be a really good beer, I think. Those are really good hop choices. This is actually a kit I got from Texas Brewing when I lived in Midland. What I mean by kit, for those who don't know what a kit is basically the store will put together their own recipes, and you can just buy them right off the shelf. This is an all grain recipe. You can also buy extract recipes where all you're doing is mixing in the malt in a liquid form. Sugars have already been extracted for you, so all you're doing is really just adding the flavor profile with the specialty grains and the hops. And some extract brews are pre-hopped, so you don't do any hopping, but I don't recommend those. I think that the hop bite kind of fades in those a lot. You're better off just adding your own hops fresh. And if you buy your hops and you don't use it for a while, throw them in the freezer. It'll preserve them for a little bit longer so they don't lose their potency. So cheers. I got to get some sparge water heated up for sparging. Alright, man, it is time to get the sparge going here, so let's go ahead and disconnect the recirculation pipe work. And it's really hot, of course. The extremely hot lid. Hot enough that it doesn't feel good on the hands, but whatever. Alright, here we go. Slowly, slowly. I'm going to push down the top plate some because the grain bed has collapsed a little bit. I just want to make sure I push it down to the top of the grain bed so that there's no airspace in between. When I'm rinsing, it just like rains right on through the grains without that top air pocket. I don't know if it really matters, but I always do it, or I try to anyways. Rather than boring you with the entire sparging process, I'm gonna get the rest of the sparging done. It's gonna be a little while. This is a slow trickle. It's not a stuck sparge, it's just a thicker grain bed. I guess it's a little stickier grain bed, but it's flowing nice. I'm getting good collection on the bottom. We'll get back here shortly and I'll tell you what the pre-boil gravity is gonna be. All right guys, I've taken a pre-boiled bricks reading here, and we're looking at 12, 30, just over 13 bricks on this. Very sweet too. So since I have a cheap refractometer, let's see what that comes out to. Out of my beer smith tools. So I did the little tool here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but we're looking at 1.051 specific gravity before the boil off. That's actually that's a very high efficiency on this beer. The water I'm using is the Woodlands area. I live in the Woodlands, and the water I'm using up here is just municipal water, but my water is going through a carbon scrubber. I have a huge carbon scrubber in my garage that the water goes through, and then it goes through a water softener. So it takes a lot of the stuff out, minerals wise. So I added about a tablespoon of gypsum back to the water, but I don't have to use RO water where I live, because the water where I live is excellent quality already, straight from the municipality. It's in the excellent category range for water quality as far as parts per million go. So I'm able to just pull the water right out of the tap and use it. And since I've added a carbon scrubber and a softener, it makes the water just that much better. So I did add gypsum back, like I said, because of the carbon scrubber. The carbon scrubber will pull a lot of the chlorine and chloramines out of the water. It pulls them out completely. You don't smell any chlorine in my water anywhere in my house. And the softener will pull out like magnesium and calcium out of the water. So I threw the gypsum back in there to kind of harden up the water some for brewing, so I can get my pH just right, get my starch to sugar conversion just right. So anyways, we are at pre-boil right now. We're at 210 degrees. I'm 2 degrees away from boil, and we'll be adding the hops here real soon. Alright guys, we are at boil temp according to the Grainfather. So we're going to go ahead and start the boil timer. We're going to go ahead and add in our hop addition of 2 ounces of Spaltz hops. Just throw them right in there. We will add in our 1 ounce of Hallertauer 30 minutes into the boil. 5-minute addition of Hallertau. Alright, about 30 minutes. Pretty cool looking, isn't it? Alright guys, we're officially done with the brew session here. So now, I'm going to put the chiller on and get her chilled down. And I'll get back to you once we're transferring to the fermenter. Alright guys, here is what the beer looks like. Very nice blonde color to it. Very much what I thought it was going to be. Looks just like the Kolsch that I drank earlier actually. The post-boil gravity on it's about 1051. It really didn't change much. I'm not sure that's the first time I've ever had that happen actually, but it's 1051. It's going to be like a 5.4% ABV beer, so it's close to sessionable. I mean, it's not too strong, it's not too light, but I'm just chilling it, transferring it to the fermenter, and then I'm going to use the brew jacket, which I've got inside a protective sleeve, the rod anyways, that's been star sanded, and the control unit's right there. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So anyways, been a long brew evening. We'll see you next time when I do the next one, because I have 3 more beers to do. So I'm going to be doing them probably pretty much back to back. So, and my Grainfather malt pipe and everything is still washing if you can hear it. So a little background noise, whatever. Y'all have a good one. See you soon. Alright guys, there it is. All snugged away. You see it's sitting at 90 degrees. I cannot pitch any yeast at that temp. It'll get down to 60 overnight. I have it dialed down to, let's see, I got it dialed down to about 62, and that's within pitchable. It just kicked in right now, so it's going to start the heat exchange process. I'm just going to go ahead and kick it down here. Perfect. And I took my little Star Sand bottle and I just made a blow off with it. So that should take care of that. And we're not going to have to worry about any activity anyways in the bottle because I have not pitched the yeast yet. But everything's been super sanitized, and I'm just going to let it get nice and cooled down, and then I'll pitch the yeast tomorrow. And maybe I'll video it. We'll see.